Hey, fourth grade. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. This is Mr. Woods. So we're moving on today. First, I want to start by saying a lot of people made progress these past 2 days with the place value and the writing numbers from word form into standard form and identifying the value of a digit in a number. You guys have shown a lot of growth these past 2 days. So let's jump into what we're going to do today. So today we're going to work on some multiplication, but specifically we're going to go over using the distributive property. Based on what I saw in class yesterday, I think using this property is going to help a lot of us show our work when we're multiplying a one digit by a two-digit number, or I say two digit by one digit number. All right, let's jump in. So when we are talking about the distributive property, the distributive property states that multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each addend by the number and then adding the products. That's going to make more sense as I go over the steps. So some quick vocabulary: a sum. The sum is the answer to an addition problem, and addends are the numbers that add in an addition problem. The reason that is important is because when I distribute, I'm going to break apart a number into two smaller numbers that when I add those two numbers together, I get the bigger number. For example, when I do the distributive property, first I'm going to draw a model. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Now, something about how I'm going to break this rectangle up. I know I'm doing 6 times 14, right? Everybody sees that we're doing 6 times 14. Step two is to break apart the larger factor into two smaller addends. So I got to actually change this one rectangle into two. I'm going to split it up into two smaller rectangles. Which number do I break apart? I break apart the bigger number. So in 6 times 14, actually the bigger factor is 14. That's the number I'm breaking apart. It's a two-digit number, right? So I know I'm gonna have a number in my ones place and a number in my tens place. So I'm gonna break it up just like that. I'm gonna have a certain amount of ones and I'm gonna have a certain amount of tens. That's exactly how I'm breaking the number apart. For example, I'm gonna break apart the 14. So I am going to draw a line right about here. Give me a small side and a big side. Now, over here, right, I'm writing the 6 because the number 6 is my factor that's staying the same. I'm breaking apart 14, my bigger factor. So in the number 14, I have 4 ones and I have 110. All right, that's how I'm breaking it apart. Now I am going to have to change my equation, right? So my equation was 6 times 14. Now I'm going to change my equation to 6 times parentheses 10 plus 4, close parentheses. Now I'm going to distribute, right? So I broke apart my bigger number. Now I'm going to distribute that 6, right? So now I'm turning that into 6 times 10, put my parentheses around that, plus parentheses 6 times, oh no, 4, close parentheses. All right. So this is my new equation. All right. Now I could solve this because my numbers are smaller and they're more friendly. I know that 6 times 10 is 60. Plus, I know that 6 times 4 is 6, 12, 18, 24. I do better at multiplying smaller numbers. And now I can add these numbers together. What is 60 plus 24? 60 plus 24 equals 4 plus 0 is 4, and 6 plus 2 is 8. So 6 times 14 equals 84. And that is how I use the distributive property to help me solve a 2-digit by 1-digit multiplication problem. Right, so the first thing I do is I draw my rectangle. Then I break apart the larger factor into 2 smaller addends. I know 10 and 4 work because 10 plus 4 gives me 14. I break apart the rectangle into 2 smaller rectangles that represent the 2 addends. So I have 4 and 10. Write my new equation to match my 2 new rectangles. So my new equation is started at 6 times 14. I broke it apart into 2 addends, so I have 6 times 10 plus 4. Now my new equation is 6 times 10 plus 6 times 4. Because my other factor that I didn't break apart is the one I'm distributing, that stays the same. Now, when I multiply those, I get 60, I get 24. I add that together, I get 84. When I add my 2 addends, I get my final product. Or I should say, when I add my 2 products, I get my final product. So that's how I do the distributive property to multiply a 2-digit by 1-digit number. You guys are going to get some bad sense now. Mr. Woods, signing out.